Should you buy an iPhone 12 mini or an iPhone 12 Pro Max? Or a 12 mini and a 12 Pro Max? Is it crazy and ridiculous to buy two phones? Is it even crazier to carry two phones? Or is Apple secretly working on a new iPhone that's gonna be the perfect size for everyone? We just haven't really seen it yet, or have we? In this video, let's kind of break all this down, settle the debate between the 12 Pro Max and the 12 mini, which one's right for you, and talk about the one Apple product that I think everyone can love. And a huge thanks to Private Internet Access for sponsoring this video. So let me start this video off by saying that no, I do not own two phones, I do not carry two phones, I am not living the two phone life. Though I personally know many people that are, and they do carry two phones. Some like having two iPhones to experiment and play around with. Some like carrying an iPhone flagship and an Android flagship, and some have a work phone and a personal phone. But let's just indulge on that idea for a moment, that fantasy of owning a 12 mini and a 12 Pro Max. As crazy and ridiculous as it sounds, it is sort of a match made in heaven. You're getting the best of the Apple ecosystem, the best of both worlds, and I know it's a crazy idea, but think about it for a second because it does kind of make a whole lot of sense. The first reason is kind of the most obvious. It's the perfect form factor for the most appropriate time. For example, when you're out of the house, typically you might be running errands, you might be running between different stores to pick things up, you might just be running and exercising, and typically in those instances, having a smaller phone is just more convenient. It's more pocketable, it's more portable, it's more manageable, it's easier to use with one hand, and you don't really need to have that big display experience on the 12 Pro Max because when you're kind of out and about doing things, that smaller screen iPhone is just the perfect, most appropriate iPhone to have at the time, which is great when you're not at home. But when you are at home, maybe you're sitting at home watching a YouTube video or playing games or scrolling through social media, then it is kind of nice to have that larger screen. You kind of have this mini OLED TV in your hand that's great for watching content. It's great, again, for playing games. It's nice to be able to sit back, relax, and indulge on that content on that larger display. You're not having to put that thing in your pocket and carry it around, but when you're kind of a little more stationary, it is nice to have a larger display. And there are obviously going to be some pros and cons to each phone. The 12 Pro Max has a big, gorgeous, beautiful display. It's got an enormous battery, the biggest in any of the iPhone 12 phones, and it also has all the pro features with the camera and the LiDAR and the Dolby Vision HDR and 60 frames per second. I could kind of go on and on. The 12 mini, in contrast, is a much smaller phone and it has a smaller battery. It doesn't have as many cameras, but it still has the A14 Bionic inside. It still has the great new design, and it is also hundreds of dollars cheaper than the larger 12 Pro Max. And when you don't need to have that larger screen, having the 12 mini is almost perfect. Both have their strengths, both have their weaknesses, and put together, they're a great combination, but it's a very, very expensive combination to put together, and that's a lot of money to drop on the convenience of two phones. I think there's a better way. Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to talk about your privacy online. Now, I'm sure you know the basics. Anytime you're on a public Wi-Fi hotspot or one of those free Wi-Fi networks, you are really putting yourself and your data at risk. But even more so these days, even while you're at home browsing the web on your computer or your tablet or your phone, your internet service provider is keeping a detailed log of everything you do. They know every page you load, every website you visit. They know exactly what you're doing online. Let's put a stop to that completely and keep them away from what we're doing and keep our connection safe and secure by using private internet access. I've been using PIA for a while now. I recommend it to my friends, my family, to you guys, and it's my favorite VPN for a couple of big reasons. First off, they make it just so simple to secure your connection. Just download the PIA app on your device, hit that big power button and power on the VPN, and your connection is now safe and secure. PIA has also just been in this business for a long time now, and they're a company you can absolutely absolutely trust. Founded in 2010, they are the leading no-log VPN service that gives you access to 10,000 servers in 70 different countries. They've also got apps to cover you on all your different devices: iOS, Android, PC, Mac. PIA is on everything you're gonna be using, and they're gonna allow you to use 10 devices simultaneously too, which is super cool. A little pro tip too, using PIA is also a great way to unlock region-restricted content that you wouldn't otherwise have access to. PIA has earned an Editor's Choice Award from the folks at PC Mag, so they are obviously trusted by the experts, and they are 100% trusted by me as well. I just have great peace of mind knowing my devices are safe and secure. It is so quick and easy to get up and running with PIA, and again, they are never going to log any of your online activity. So check out private internet access for yourself today. Get those devices safe and secure. We're gonna leave a link to it down below. And also, PIA is running a special right now. You can get 3 years plus 2 months free for $79. That's like $2 a month. A fantastic deal. Definitely recommend you check it out. And also, PIA has a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you've got nothing to lose, but everything to gain. So check out PIA for yourself. Again, link for that right down below. So one of the most obvious ways to kind of achieve this is to simply get an Apple Watch, but not just any Apple Watch. Though the Apple Watch is great, you really want to get one with an LTE connection built in. This can be the Apple Watch SE, it can be the new Series 6, or it can be one of the used models of a Series 5, a Series 4, or even earlier than that. Having that LTE connection allows you to have your Apple Watch be an independent part of your Apple ecosystem. It doesn't have to be tied to your phone all the time. And it can do a lot of the things that you typically would want to do when you're out of the house. It can send and receive text messages, you can view and respond to emails, you're able to stream music. It can't obviously play games or play back video or have a really intuitive typing experience. It's still kind of lacking in that department, but if you're just looking for something to kind of keep you connected but also untethered when you're out, an LTE Apple Watch is the perfect way to go. It gives you a lot of the functionality and a lot of the features that you'd like to have when you're not with your phone, but also keep kind of the bulk and keep the unnecessary form factor out of anything that you have to carry. Just keep this on your wrist, you have nothing in your pockets, nothing in your purse or backpack, you got this and you're good to go. And some say you can't really put a price on that peace of mind, but in this case, it seems like it's the price of an LTE Apple Watch plus the data plan, which if you really kind of go all out on the Apple Watch, it can kind of start to creep into iPhone territory, but you don't need to do that. You can get an Apple Watch SE LTE model for a couple $100. You can buy a used model and save even more money. And I think the LTE plans for these watches are like $10-ish a month, depending on the carrier, and definitely cheaper than spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a brand new phone. Another option is to sort of solve the problem going the other way. So let's say you're at home now, you like to sit back on the couch and relax, you want to scroll through Instagram, you want to send some texts, play some games, watch some videos. What can you do to achieve that? Well, the obvious reason, kind of like the Apple Watch is perfect for being out of the house, when you're at home, an iPad just makes so much sense. And no, I'm not saying to go out and buy an iPad Pro with the Magic Keyboard and the Smart Pencil. That's a great combination, but you don't need to break the bank in order to get a good iPad. You can pick up the cheapest iPad for around $300. This thing is always on sale, and it's kind of the perfect way to go to give you the same functionality of your phone, plus a lot more. An iPad is going to give you a much larger canvas for scrolling through those social media timelines, for responding to emails, sending messages, and it's the perfect content consumption device for watching videos and playing games. There's a reason the iPad is one of the best tablets you can buy right now and why it's leading the category, and it really is a phenomenal experience. iPadOS keeps getting better, it keeps gaining functionality, and this is a really great way to get that large, big screen experience when you want it, but also not have to carry it around with you wherever you go. The 12 Pro Max is nice, but that's a lot of screen to carry around with you when you don't need all that screen. So get yourself an iPad for a couple $100 in your home and problem solved. And last but not least, there is sort of a third option here, something that really allows you to have sort of the best of both worlds. And if you're really dead set on living the two-phone life, here's a way you can kind of do that. So maybe you have your flagship iPhone that you've chosen, whether that be the 12 Pro Max, the 12 mini, or maybe you're just liking the 12 or the 12 Pro, that's perfectly fine. But you do like the idea of having a second phone, something you can use, something that can maybe get a little more roughed up. You're not afraid of keeping it in pristine condition all the time. What's the best device for that? Well, you could pick up a used iPhone, which is probably a fantastic way to go and still get a great phone that's very functional, but also a lot cheaper, or you could do what a lot of people are doing these days and buy an iPhone SE. It's relatively affordable at $400, but it's almost always on sale. There are always carrier deals and incentives to get you to get this phone, and you can find it for as low as $200, $250. But the iPhone SE does have some unique advantages, especially right now in 2020. It gives you the A13 processor, which is still very fast, very powerful, still future-proof for years to come. It's got a great camera on the back, though it's a single camera. It's got a really nice LCD display, not the best in the world, but still more than usable. It's going to be great for watching videos, playing games, whatever you want to do when you're out and about. And maybe the best feature of all, it has Touch ID. It does not have Face ID, which in the era of masks right now is almost more of a pro and a con. We kind of used to knock this phone because it didn't have Face ID in the newer design, but now Touch ID is back with a vengeance and really proving that it is still useful and very relevant here in 2020. So the iPhone SE is definitely a good way to go. You can get this thing on sale or even buy it used and save even more money, and does allow you to sort of scratch that itch of carrying two phones to really see what it's like and to see if you would prefer it and if it's the right life for you. But all this kind of leads to a very obvious question. What's next from Apple? Is Apple actually working on a perfect iPhone that's going to be the best size for everyone? Will the 12 Pro Max and the 12 Mini live side by side forever? Or are they going to kind of merge into one unified size that's going to be perfect for everyone and that everyone can agree is the perfect size for them? I'm not sure if we're there just yet, but we know that Apple is definitely working on it. And as we start to hear the rumblings about what's coming next from Apple and the iPhone 13 and what that phone will have and won't have, we can make some educated guesses and some educated predictions right now, and we can be fairly confident that we do know a couple of things about the iPhone 13 series. We can assume that Apple is working on another mini iPhone, whether this is the iPhone 13 mini or maybe it's the iPhone SE 3 at this point. We know that this mini form factor is a big deal for Apple and Apple customers, and a lot of people like having the smallest iPhone, and Apple is going to continue to work on this form factor. And I know there are a lot of people out there that want to go even smaller. They think the iPhone 12 mini is great, but they'd like to see Apple go just a bit smaller, maybe instead of 5.4, maybe going down to a 5-inch iPhone or below, in something like an iPhone 13 Nano, an iPhone Nano. We saw some renders of this kind of floating around Twitter that look very futuristic and sort of like a mishmash of an iPod and an iPhone with the small screen. It sort of almost reminds me of that old iPod, that square one that everyone was wearing like a watch, that had that kind of square iOS looking operating system that looked like iOS and kind of worked like iOS, but it wasn't iOS. And yes, I was one of those people that bought this iPod with a watch strap and put it on my wrist and wore it like an Apple Watch, but don't judge me. This is before the Apple Watch existed, so cut me some slack, or you can judge me, it's fine. It was kind of weird, but it was something that I enjoyed doing. It does kind of really remind me of what we're seeing now with this iPhone Nano kind of concept, but it does kind of raise a question. Would you want Apple to go smaller? Does there exist a position in the Apple lineup, in the iPhone lineup specifically, for an even smaller iPhone, an iPhone Nano? And what could this do that the Apple Watch and the iPhone don't already do right now? Let me know if you guys would like an iPhone Nano. Leave a comment down below and let us know. But for now, it remains to be just a rumor and some speculation around this upcoming product, but maybe we could one day see it. Another point, kind of iPhone 13 related, is that we do know that Apple, in one way or another, is working on a foldable iPhone. Now, I think if we were taking bets, it'd be more advantageous to bet on a portless iPhone before a foldable iPhone, but we know that deep in the labs of Apple Park, somewhere in one of those secret labs, there is a foldable iPhone concept that does exist, and we know Apple is experimenting with this idea. And if you think about it, a foldable does kind of solve this problem. It would give you this small screen that was compact, easy to use with one hand, but then you could open it up to reveal a much larger screen inside that would be perfect for watching videos, playing games, all that stuff. And that is kind of the appeal of foldables right now, though they are very expensive and there are a couple of different iterations. I'm not sure if Apple would take the Galaxy Fold approach of taking a normal sized kind of bigger phone and making it even bigger with a larger display inside, or they'd go something like the Razr where you have a smaller outer screen that could flip open to reveal a little bit of a larger screen, or a Microsoft approach of kind of a dual screen phone with a hinge that has basically two equal displays that can be used independently or together. We're not really sure where Apple falls in sort of the foldable realm, what they're working on and what they're not working on, but we know that this does exist and that maybe one day we could see an Apple Foldable that could just come and solve this whole problem on phone screen sizes, but I wouldn't count on seeing that anytime soon. And I guess as it stands right now, there really is no perfect one size fits all for the iPhone. A lot of people, tend to go to the 6.1-inch iPhone. That has been kind of the default Apple has set for years. Most people like that, but some like larger and some like smaller. And if you're willing to front the cash to buy both, you can certainly do that, though I don't think that is the right choice for everyone. I think complementing your iPhone experience with an Apple Watch or an iPad is not only going to help you enjoy your iPhone more, but is also going to allow you to kind of enjoy this wider Apple ecosystem as a whole. And again, you don't need to carry two phones. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars to make this happen. You can buy a lot of this stuff on sale. You can buy it used. And I think it's really going to help you kind of fill those voids, fill those gaps, and have the perfect iOS experience for the time and place that are appropriate. Nice big screen at home when you're lounging, smaller screen when you're out and about. There's no perfect solution right now, but at least we do have a lot of options. All right, so what do you guys think? Does this iPhone 13 Nano make sense? Should Apple continue to push the envelope on going larger with their phones? Should they go smaller? Or should they try to make a middle ground somewhere in between? Maybe 5.8 was the right size all along and we just kind of skipped over it. Let us know in the comments down below what you'd like to see and what you kind of like to see from the iPhone 13 in general. Do you want to see foldable? Do you want to see portless? Or do you think we should just kind of wait and see what Apple has in store and you're still enjoying your new 12 version right now? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I am Robert Rosenfeld, and I will see you in the next one.